Hey, what's happening? Jeff Pish here, coming at you again with another beat of the week. Today, we're checking out an Afro Cuban kind of vibe. So I kind of call this an Afro Cuban with a backbeat. So I use this on the tune, with one, again, it's that organ quartet that I work with called The Sermon. We play a tune called Senor Blues, super funky jazz Afro Cuban feel tune. And so I took the Afro Cuban feel that it has, and then for like the choruses and when the solos get a bit bigger, I added a backbeat to it to give it just a little bit more of that funky driving feel. So you can kind of see here, again, it's another pattern it's not crazy intricate. There's not a whole lot going on, but the way we approach it is what's going to give it its grooviness and just create that really nice feel. So let's get into it. So start with the feet as per usual. Bass drum and the hi-hat are just keeping, we essentially would call it the dotted quarter note feel in here, depending on how you want to count it. So I feel this in 12/8, but I count it in 4. So 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a, so that's how we feel that one. Kick drum, all 4, basically a 4 and the 4 approach. Now this is a different 4 and the 4 approach than what the funky disco has. Like the funky disco, we're driving, we're punching, we want really great presence and thump out of the bass drum. Now this is a little more subtle. Now we're creating more ambiance, if you will, and we shall. And we just want it to keep rolling on through there and just keep that, it keeps everything kind of grounded, but it's not punching you to try to make you have to move. And then I also, on the hi-hat, I added, again, that backbeat feel on the 2 and the 4 on the hi-hat. So it kind of gives us that backbeat, that assumed backbeat, if you will. So here's the feet. And I'm going to work real slow right now. We're at dotted quarter note equals 88 BPM. See, nothing crazy's happening. Nothing crazy's happening. But it's just by, another option, it would be to play all 4 on the hats, but I liked the vibe because of what that organ quartet is. We are trying to feel more backbeats in a lot of the stuff what we do. Even when we play jazz type tunes, we want to give it that funky backbeat feel, so it has some action in there. So that's why I chose to go with the 2 and the 4 on the hat instead of all 4. Fair enough. Let's go to the right hand on the ride cymbal. We're working on the ride cymbal. Now, here's another detail for this one. If we think about our zones on the ride cymbal, you're going to get different tones. Everybody's ride cymbal sounds different, and you're going to get different tones no matter where you're, depending on where you're hitting it. You get your bell sounds. If you're pretty close to the bell, you still get that more open ride vibe, but it's still it's a little more articulate, a little more tingy, a little high-endy. But as we get further out, we're getting that darker sound. That cymbal has a lot of that darkness to give. So for this particular beat, I'm going a little bit closer to the bell. Not in the bell, but I get close to it so that it's a little more articulate, it's a little more high-endy, and we're just playing all the eighth notes. So if we're in 12/8, all 12 of those eighth notes. So here's the feet and the ride part. Easy enough, easy enough. Again, everything is subtle. We just want to hear everything in balance. And you notice those 3 parts are pretty subdued. The main part is going to come in the left hand. So you can kind of see on the page we're looking at some rim knocks or cross sticks, whatever you want to call them. I go with rim knocks. And there's also beat 4 is then back on the snare drum, an accented beat 4. Here's, again, that interpretation. So I take this Afro Cuban feel and added that halftime backbeat by putting the snare drum on the 4 count. And again, this is for the bigger chorus type area, or as the solos grow, to add a little bit more punch to it. So let's check out just the feet and this left hand part. Just one detail about the cross stick. For me, again, everybody's different. Find your sound. For me, I'm looking at my 5A barrel. I'm putting the 5A marking here right where that rim is, and that way I'm getting a beefy sound. It resonates. It's sonorous, if you will, and sounds great for me. For especially in this kind of situation, now that the left hand is kind of the driving part. So what this part looks like then is your basic Afro Cuban feel. So if we think of, when you think of Afro Cuban, everyone just always goes to the ba 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 ba. So there's our Afro Cuban feel, and now we're putting that on the rim knocks and then adding our backbeat in there. So let's check it out. So you can already get a sense of this cool type feel happening, and it feels open because we're keeping the hi-hat on 2 and 4 and adding that almost halftime backbeat, so to speak, on the snare drum there. So let's put it all together. Again, this is down tempo. We're at 88 BPM. Let's check out all these parts. And there's everything put together. We got our backbeat in there. Again, it's about those levels. The left-hand part is what gives it that Afro-Cuban feel, and that halftime backbeat to give it, again, it's all about the idiom within the big picture of what the band's doing, and what the style of the band is. So now let's go ahead and bump up the tempo. I think we play this probably about 100, 102. I'm going to go to 101. We'll split the difference. And here's everything put together. There it is. There's our groovy Afro Cuban with the backbeat happening in there. As always, what's the next step? We improvise. So again, it's all about hearing the big picture, hearing what the soloist is playing, hearing what's happening, enhancing what's happening underneath to just kind of uplift the whole piece of music and create some little interplay, as it were, within what the soloists are playing. So I'm going to go ahead and improvise a little bit and see what happens. Again, I don't have anything to reference off of, but we'll just play it and see how we go. And there you have it. The Afro Cuban with the backbeat that I play on the tune Senor Blues. I'll put a link to the recording of that tune. Such a cool tune. Real nice stuff. And that's all we got today. So please do hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. I appreciate you. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and we'll catch you on the next one.